So we are live now. I will let you know when I'll speak, then you can start.
All right.
Participants are joining. Good evening, everyone. I welcome all the participants to our webinar for Lincoln American University, a gateway to your dream medical career. Today, we are going to discuss about LAU, what are the benefits of studying in LAU for international students like Nigerian students, African students, and many other country students who want to join and pursue their medical career and want to practice as a global practitioner. So the guest speaker for our today's evening is Dr. Yusuf Abdullah. He is our Dean for Academic Affairs in LAU. So without wasting time, I would request Dr. Abdullah to kindly take us through the journey for LAU and let us know what are the benefits for the students and how they can achieve their dream career. Over to you, sir.
All right. Good morning, because it's morning here. I guess in Nigeria, it would be afternoon. So good morning and good afternoon to those in Nigeria, and whatever time it is, wherever you are, I'm sending greetings to you. My name is Yusuf Abdullah, medical doctor practicing here in Guyana, and also the Dean of Academic Affairs, Lincoln American University. Just as the introducer has made mention of, it is the gateway to your dream medical career. Lincoln American University, on the slide that I have here, is situated in the Caribbean. So it is important that you know where the Caribbean is and where it is located on the map. So the Caribbean is a region that consists of the Caribbean island, and the region is in the southeast of the Gulf of Mexico and North of America mainland. So east also of the Central America and north of the South America. It is located in this region, and because of the proficiency of English language that is spoken within the Caribbean, especially in Guyana, it has attracted a lot of persons, especially people from English-speaking country. These are the countries that you see on the slide that make up the Caribbean island: Cuban country, Trinidad and Tobago, Guyana, Haiti, Republic of Dominica, Jamaica, Bahamas, St. Vincent, Grenadines, St. Lucia, and the list goes on and on. There are 16 countries in the island. Now the question is, why do you want to study in the Caribbean? So just a background of that, and I think it is important that my audience, I guess, basically Nigerians. I am a Nigerian, and when I came to Guyana to study, one of the questions that people usually will pose at me is, why did you choose Guyana? Without thinking too fast, I would say Guyana is, a country in the Caribbean where, number one, English is spoken. Everybody in the country speaks English, and that makes it easier for communication for most of us who would have come from Guyana, come from Nigeria. And the other reason, and I think it's very important, is the fact that life in the Caribbean, and especially in Guyana, is quite easy. And there are less and less distraction for medical students when they come to Guyana to study. So I think that is a very key point. When I studied here in Guyana, there were less distractions for me as a medical student, and that gives me the opportunity to concentrate more on my studies. So students from the Caribbean medical universities who demonstrate good academic and clinical performances are able to compete with US medical students or for residency programs. So there is this easy accessibility for students to access the US medical program when you complete your medical education in Guyana. And the earlier admissions and sometimes a sense of advantage draw many prospective medical students to study medicine in the Caribbean in comparison to US and Canada and in Canada. So we have many students who would have come to the Caribbean to study medicine because of the prize to study medicine in the United States and in Canada. We also had students who would have left Canada and come to Guyana to study because it's quite cheaper in Guyana. A very beautiful analogy of that is if you think about it very, very well, students who want to study medicine in the US would spend close to 24,000 US dollars in 1 year. And that is what you would need. Almost that is what you would need to complete your medical education in 4 years in Guyana. So it is quite cheaper. So it is pocket friendly and quite cheaper when you think about it. And the other thing is you acquire the same knowledge that persons in the US and in Canada would acquire, the same knowledge. That is for clinical knowledge. What about clinical skills? We had, in my time, students who would have left to the US to study, to continue the clinical rotations in the US, while those of us in Guyana, we stayed behind to do our clinical rotations in Guyana. But the most interesting thing here is our counterpart in the US could not have access to patients, while we in Guyana had access to patients. So we could do physical examinations on patients as clinical rotating students. We could also do simple procedure on patients. But in the US and Canada, it's almost impossible for medical students to have that free access to patients. I think that is why, personally, it is very interesting and more of an advantage to come to Guyana and in the Caribbean to study medicine. Lincoln American University is situated in Guyana. Guyana is located on the northeast coast of South America and is bordered by the Atlantic Ocean. You can see the map there. Guyana is hidden gem of the Caribbean and an English-speaking country in South America, known for its aesthetic natural beauty. So with about 43.45% of Indian population and students get to feel belong to the country. And in addition to that, we also have a lot of Africans who would have migrated from Africa, from Nigeria, from Zimbabwe, from Ghana, especially Ghana, and the whole of Africa. We also have Egyptians who are here, settling here. So it is a cocktail of Indian population, the African population, the European population, and the Chinese population as well, and the Amerindian population, who are the original inhabitants of the country. So it's very rich in terms of its cultural diversity and racial diversity. So this is where we are located in Georgetown. Georgetown is the capital of Guyana. Lincoln American University was given birth to in 2016. It came into existence, and from that time till today, we have immensely progressed to where we are. And for notes, Lincoln American University, unlike many other schools in the Caribbean who would want to start on a note, a very simple note, and they would have to, take money from their students to build their school. That wasn't the case for Lincoln American University. And I think it is very profound. The owners of the university had the financial muscle to have a structure on the ground. You're going to see the structure, and they have a state-of-the-art medical laboratories. I'm talking about anatomy lab, the chemistry lab, physics lab, and microbiology lab. We have all these in place, and a very large computer lab that can take approximately 60 or more students. So the finance was there. It tells you without mistake that the owners of the school meant business. They really, really meant business, and they were not looking forward at the initial stage or the embryonic stage of the school. They were not looking forward to taking money from students to build the school, like you would find in many other offshore medical universities in Guyana and in the Caribbean. So we are recognized by these associations. We're recognized, Lincoln American University School of Medicine is recognized by the World Directory of Medical Schools. It's registered with the National Accreditation Council of Guyana. I am going to stress on that again. Many students would have asked me, Dr. Yusuf, I want to come to Guyana to study, but I am afraid that when I get my certificate right here in Guyana, my country may not recognize it. It is not true. As long as the country in which the school is located recognizes that medical school, and the accreditation body of that country recognizes and accredits that school, then your country automatically will recognize that certificate that you have come with. In addition to that, the Nigerian Medical and Dental Council recognizes, approves our school, Lincoln American University, because last 2 years I was in Nigeria and I went to the National Nigerian Medical Council and spoke to the officials there, and I was made to understand that students who graduate from our school can come to Nigeria and practice. If they write the Nigerian Medical Council licensing exam, and pass it, of course, they will be licensed by the Nigerian Medical and Dental Council. So that's not a problem. So we're also affiliated with AMI. AMI is the Association of Medical Education in Europe. LAU is affiliated with GAME, the Global Alliance for Medical Education, and also FECFMG, which is the Educational Commission for Foreign Medical Students. LA is also registered with FEMA, Foundation for Advancement of International Medical Research. So we are recognized by these bodies and also affiliated to these bodies. Our story is a very diversifying story and very interesting story, because we have our affiliates and also we are adjunct, and we have other universities that we are affiliated to. We're affiliated to Sharda University in India, the Auburn University in the United States, in Russia, and also the Palm State Medical University is also in Russia. Our MD program, which offers you a bachelor's in basic science, it offers you MD and also offers you bachelor's in basic science. The medical education in Guyana and of course in the Caribbean is MD. MD is not different from MBBS. So I want to make this clear. MBBS is Bachelors of Medicine, Bachelors of Surgery. MD is Doctors of Medicine. So they're all the same, but it is just nomenclature. The MD program affords you an opportunity to complete a degree before in a paramedical course or something that is relating to your sciences and pursue a medical career where certain credits and hours are shed off for you. Then you spend 4 years. The MBBS is a 6-year program. So the curriculum is the same. The MD tailors itself through the American curriculum, and the MBBS tailors itself through the British curriculum. But it's all the same. It's the same human being. The specimen that we all look at is the human being. That's our specimen. At LAU, we have, just like in many other universities, it is sectioned into a pre-clinical and clinical. The preclinical comprise of the pre-medical program, which is 1 year, as a pre-medical program, and the pre-clinical program, which is the basic science. So there is a 1-year pre-medical program for students who would have just left secondary school. And if they complete that program successfully, that will expose you or probably introduce you to the medical career. And the 2 years basic science will expose you to clinical knowledge. And the other 2 years of your program will expose you to clinical skills. So it's a 2-year program, your basic knowledge, clinical knowledge, and 2-year program, your clinical skills, which will be done in the hospital. We do your rotations, the first year and second year clinical rotations, all right? So this is what we do here in Guyana. That is anatomy lab. It's a very beautiful lab. It's very spacious. I am the one in charge of the anatomy lab and the anatomy program that we do here. And students have opportunity to have live sessions with me during the COVID-19 period. They would have live sessions on Zoom and expose students to as much specimens as possible. Now, before the COVID-19 period, pre-COVID-19, we had physical contacts where students will see these specimens. That is a student looking at the cranium of the skull. And you have the opportunity to look at each of the different anatomical design on that skull. And your teacher would take you through each of the detailed anatomical structures that are needed. So we have a beautiful lab that has all the specimens that we can think of in the school. We also have a microbiology lab. The microbiology lab has microscopes, and these are microscopes that can be hooked to a computer and can be projected. You can see the projection there. The projector is right there, and it's also a very spacious and very neat place. It gives you this sense of belonging as a scientist when you look at this lab. So it is a very beautiful place to study medicine. So the microbiology lab will expose you to different it exposes you to your different histological preparations, tissue preparations. So you mount these slides on your computer stage, you mount it on your microscope stage, and then you look at these slides, the histological structures of this slide, and you have your lecturer to guide you through. We have a computer lab that is well equipped and hooked to internet. These are about 60 computers that are hooked to the internet. Every student is designated to a computer. It's spacious and you can maneuver your way through each of the decks, and it doesn't give you this cumbersome nature of a lab. So this is very, very beautiful. That's our physics lab for students who are doing their pre-medical program, exposing them to physics. So here at Lincoln American University, we do something different. Most of the students who would have come from Nigeria and from India would have been exposed to physics if they complete their secondary education. So we don't, it is usually very boring to begin to repeat some of these things again, even if it is advanced physics. So what we do at Lincoln American University, it's quite different from what we have in many other schools in the Caribbean, is we do medical physics. For example, when we talk about pressure here, in physics you study pressure, but how do we make that relevant to a medical student? So we begin to expose students to taking blood pressure, what happens to the blood vessels when the pressure increases, and what happens to the blood vessel when patients have shock, and things like that. So those are some of the things we begin to expose students to understand the physics, the concept of physics that is behind some of the changes, the physiological changes in the body. Because most of these have their own physiological component. The eye, for example, has a lens, and lens is a structure that helps in refracting light upon the retina. So in the lab, students will begin to study that aspect of the lens and how it relates to refraction. So we talk about refraction, the refractive index of different lenses, and how it affects your visual ability. So those are the medical physics that our students do in the lab when we talk about physics. So it is quite different from what they would have studied in their secondary school. If we want to repeat that, it's a little bit cumbersome and boring for many of the students. We usually have outreach programs where we give back to our community. This is one of the communities that I used to head, and I'm still heading that. The last Sunday of every month, our students have firsthand, relation with patients. These are patients in the community who come to these clinics that Lincoln American University organize. We check the pressure. You can see one of our students there checking the pressure of a patient there. They check the pressure. I'm always there to monitor them and to guide them. We also check blood pressure. We check sugar level of patients who are diabetic, and patients who have very simple, not simple, but common clinical conditions, gastritis. I'm there to guide the students, and we also dispense medication. You can see medications are also dispensed. I'm also there. I tell the students what to give for every condition. And we also have a pharmacist who is there with us, and the students understand the disease process. They also try to relate hypertensive conditions to different conditions for patients who come here to get monthly supply of their medication. If they have maybe diabetic, they're diabetic, they will from there begin to understand what you do for patients who have diabetes. What are some of the things that you'll be looking out when a patient comes with diabetes mellitus, and then begin to understand the difference between diabetes mellitus type 1, diabetes mellitus type 2. What class of patient or group of patient or age group of patient would present with diabetes type 2 versus patient would present with diabetes type 1. So it is classroom away from classroom. So these outreach programs are very important and very interesting, and the community here are really grateful to have Lincoln American University to do most of this job. Now, the clinical rotations, we also have clinical rotations in India. So early you would have signed agreement of collaboration with Max Health Care in India. that is the Vice Chancellor, Dr. Kapoor. Dr. Kapoor there. We also have clinical rotations. It's a joint hands for clinical rotations in India in collaboration with the Max Healthcare Institute, with some of the following added care opportunities for LAU students. So we have postgraduate program in internal medicine. We also have masters in emergency medicine, fellowship and certificate courses, and diploma of national board programs. So these are different benefits that because of our affiliation with Max Healthcare for students who will be moving from Guyana to India. And so that is one of the hospitals also in Nepal, that's in India. Now in Guyana, we have one major hospital, which is the Georgetown Public Hospital, PLC. The Georgetown Public Hospital, PLC is recognized and accredited for students' clinical rotations in the Caribbean. Most of the universities, offshore medical universities in the Caribbean would come to Georgetown Public Hospital. So it may interest you to know that Lincoln American University is affiliated to Georgetown Public Hospital, and that is the chairman of the of Georgetown Public Hospital, Mr. George, and that is our Vice Chancellor, Dr. Kapoor. Lincoln American University, in collaboration with the ACEMD to facilitate clinical rotations in the United States for students who would want to go to the United States to do clinical rotations. We know that some students would want to go to the United States to do clinical rotations and after completion of the basic science and USMLE step 1. So that the American clinical experience will facilitate your clinical rotations in the United States. So we also can give you more elaboration on this if students ask questions with regard to that. We also have clinical rotation. We also have USMLE coachings and clinical rotations. The Lincoln American University students will get extended access to Kaplan medical materials for step 1 on demand. So, and these provide comprehensive basic science curriculum to support and practice to help supplement students' learning, and also ensure that students are well prepared for the core high yield points in passing the USMLE step 1, and also, of course, the USMLE step 2. So that is, we also present a virtual tour for our students when they come to the university, live tour for students. That's the building, Lincoln American University. So we get students to get to see the building. It could be virtual because of the coronavirus pandemic. And if it is physical, we take students from the first floor to the top floor to explore the building to see what we have for them. That is the Vice Chancellor, Air Marshal, retired, Dr. Kapoor, is an alumni of the AFMC, and that was in October 1979. So he holds a master's degree in administration from the prestigious university, prestigious All Indian Institute Medical University, New Delhi. He has been a former director of General of Medical Service. He is a former president of Honorary Surgeon and founder, member of the National Accreditation Board for Hospitals and Healthcare in Guyana. So that is the Vice Chancellor. And the beauty of it is that he is a medical doctor, and the president of the university is a medical doctor. So these are persons who have gone through the training. And myself, I'm also a medical doctor. So we understand what it takes for students to go through the training of medicine. And when students complain, when students have issues, we exactly know because we're in that shoes and we know exactly what to provide for students. So our Faculty of Medicine at Lincoln American University comprise of the top researchers, physicians, and specialists from reputed universities around the world. The staff members of LAU are highly experienced in their respective field of study. Our faculty is internationally acclaimed, and we have remarkable faculty for each subject. We have visiting faculties also from around the world. And these are members of the faculty in Guyana. So that is Dr. Hanuman, is the MD clinical coordinator. Dr. Hanuman has been in the practice for years, for more than 25 years. He teaches our students internal medicine, neuroscience, and practice of medicine. That is Dr. Tamkir Attar, is a professor of cardiology, and that's myself, Dr. Yusuf Abdullah. I'm the dean and in charge of the Faculty of Anatomy and Physiology. That is Dr. Ruth Benjamin. She has been in a practice for years now. She's a dermatologist and she is a professor of physiology as well. And that's Professor Ansari Abdullah, who is in charge of the Faculty of Biology and Virology. So our research orientation from first year, the students are involved in research in our pre-medical program, and they're also given the skill to be innovative in the field of medicine. In just 3 years, 2 research papers jointly by students and faculty have been accepted by for publications. And students are honored by Dr. Kapoor with a view to encouraging them to excel further and keeping with the good stuffs that they do at the university. So research is a very important part of clinical and basic science knowledge. So we provide these research at a very, very early stage in the university. Our research orientation comprised of these individuals, and that picture showed students who would have excelled in research programs that we have organized for them. Now that's our hostel facility. The hostel facility have doctors on call. We have doctors on call. Myself serve as one of the doctors, Dr. Huntley, Dr. Hanuman. These are doctors that 24/7, when students ring them up, we're there at the beck and call. We also have a very high-speed Wi-Fi and 24/7 security that is provided for students and biometric entry, housekeeping, quality food, indoor games, laundry is provided for students, and we also have a cafe library, and there is also about a power backup for students, except if there is any power outbreak. We hardly do have power outbreak. Our hostel facility in Guyana also comprise of this. These are examples of what you see at a hostel. Now, a co-curriculum, it is not all work and no play. Our co-curricular activities will comprise of students from India visiting the Indian High Commission and also the Indian Day where they do stuff. We also have our Nigerian students and our students from other parts of the world who embark on community services that we provide for the community. It is usually fun when we go out and students are there to, after seeing patients and, you know, gaining some basic skills from the lecturer who is there or the doctor who is there. We go out to have picnic, and this is one of the picnic that we had in one of the outings. So we also have students who would go out to play cricket, play football, and we can see some of our Nigerian students here. So there are no discriminations here. Every student who come to Lincoln American University, we see ourselves as one big family. There is no such thing as, okay, he is an Indian or he is an African. We all work together, play games together, and be together. Now, this picture is it's very key because it shows how students would have participated in advancing the idea of staying at home during the COVID-19, encouraging people to stay off and stay at home and keep themselves safe. So we can see one of the students here would have said, let's fight together. This says, stay home and stay safe, sanitize your hand. So Lincoln American University, we were among the very few universities that would have encouraged we would have encouraged the less and less spread of the coronavirus. So this is an Indian celebration. They call it the Holi celebration. So this is one of the picnics that we had with all our students, all the students here. It's one of the picnics that we had. So students also had to go for swimming because we have a lot of water here in Guyana. And those are some of the celebrations you would have seen, and students engage in celebrations. So these are some of the samples of our students from India as well. We also engage in newsletters that are distributed monthly. So here is the big question: why join Lincoln American University? I think I answered that question at the beginning. Why Lincoln American University? There are lots of schools in the Caribbean, lots of offshore medical university in the Caribbean. Why do I have to join Lincoln American University? The reason why I have to join Lincoln American University is because it is quite cheaper in Guyana, number one, and number two, most of the schools, and this is very important, most of the schools in Guyana, most of the offshore medical university in Guyana started at a very low key. They probably would rent a building or a flat for students, and the advert that they put on the internet, the advertisement that they put on the internet is completely different from what they show the students. And when the students come, they don't see what they would have seen on the internet. That is very depressing. I was one of the victims of that. So it's very, very depressing. So at Lincoln American University, the owners of the school had the financial muscle to put everything in place and not waiting to collect anything from the students at first. Even though we are at our embryonic stage and we have greatly progressed to where we are, this is about 4 years now, we've been in operation. We are competing with schools that have been existing for 10 years now. And that is very key because we have a state-of-art lab, anatomy lab, physiology lab, biochemistry lab, and we have a staff population of about 60 and a student strength of about 300 just within these few years. And we have one of the best lecturers in the Caribbean. Our lecturers range from local lecturers to international lecturers. So this is the reason why I would opt any student to choose Lincoln American University. So it's, we have said that before. Guyana is the only English-speaking country in the Caribbean. They don't have any other language apart from English. So it is also very important to note that. We also have made mention of this. We are listed with these bodies. And we also have our eligibility criteria. So the eligibility criteria is, we look at your educational criteria. So students who would have graduated from high school, who would have completed their WAEC from Nigeria, they would have completed a NECO examination or GCE examination. And they would have scored at least a credit in each of these subjects: English, mathematics, physics, chemistry, biology, at least a credit in all of these subjects if you would have done WAEC, the West African Examination Council, or the NECO or GCE. So if you get a credit in any of this, you are eligible for admission into the pre-medical program. Now, there's an age criteria. It's one of the eligibility criteria. You should not be less than 17 as at the time you are taking the admission. Candidates should have a valid passport and police clearance from the country you're coming from. All right, so our international students who should have a 12th grade A, and this is from other schools, because I was just talking about Nigeria and what is particular in Nigeria. The students should have at least a credit in your GCE, your WAEC, and also your NECO. For this that we have here is for students who would have been coming from India. So admission process. So the admission process is, so you have to register. That's step one. Firstly, submit the required scanned copies of documents and registration fee to start the process. Second step is the completion of documentation, submitting originals of the documents and required formalities for visa. And also step three, visa process. After completion of documents, visa process starts and the requisite application is sent to the embassy for further process. Step four is clearing first year fee. Now, this is very important that students should clear the first year fee. After the visa, the fee for first year and flight ticket are charged and cleared. Now, the fifth step is to take your bag and fly to your dream land, Guyana, and to Lincoln American University. You can simply impress your audience and add a unique thing and appeal to your presentation. So what is CAMHP? So CAMHP is it's more like it's called the Caribbean Association that is accrediting medical schools and other health professions. So it is a body that is concerned with the, it helps to coordinate the activities of medical schools within the Caribbean and also ensure that they keep a certain standard of medical delivery in the Caribbean. So it is the legally constituted body established in 2003 under the aegis of the Caribbean Community, empowered to determine and prescribe standard and to accredit programs of medical, dental, veterinary, and other health professions education on behalf of the contracting parties in the Caribbean. All medical schools are required to be CAMHP accredited. Now, this says in 2023. So let me say this, because in the website of the CAMHP, it is said that schools should be accredited before 2023. But because of the COVID-19, it has been postponed indefinitely. Now, Lincoln American University is at the verge of application for the CAMHP. We have completed all application process for CAMHP accreditation. That has been completed, and it takes 6 months after that for the team to visit your school. So everything has been completed. It's just for us to go into the process of the school invite for the team to come to our school. So we have to complete all the application process, which has been completed so far, and we are at that verge, at the point now where we would have the team to come to the school to look at what we have in the school. USMLE stands for the United States Medical Licensing Examination. USMLE is a 3-step examination for medical licensure in the United States. The USMLE is conducted by the Federation of State Medical Board of the United States and the National Board of Medical Council, Medical Examiner. The USMLE is governed by a committee that is formed of members of the FSMB and NBME and the Educational Commission for Foreign Medical Graduates. So we have here at LAU students who are interested to take the USMLE. So we have persons who are responsible for training our students for the USMLE. Our school have ties with Kaplan, and we've had a representative of Kaplan visit the school and would have given our school materials for the preparation of USMLE, and students are going through that training for the USMLE program. So those are some of the things you need to know about USMLE Step 2 and USMLE Step 3. So these are some of the things that we feel you should know about Lincoln American University. You should feel free to share your queries. You can also email us, and you can also reach me directly on my email, and you can also reach me directly on my number. I can share my number. The IT personnel can share my number so students can talk to me personally. Students from Nigeria who intend to join our school are free to engage me in further questions that they intend to ask. You should feel free to speak with me. I think if there are any queries that you intend to ask, I am in the best position to answer those questions. Thank you very much for your time and your audience, and I hope that you will be applying soon to join our school in the next admission process. Until then, I remain Dr. Yusuf, Dean Academics, Lincoln American University. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Yusuf, for a very detailed presentation and overview for the Lincoln American University. And after seeing the presentation, we believe that major queries related to university are clear on very first hand, like what is CAM HP. We got a very detailed glimpse about CAM HP, how the study pattern is going in Lincoln American University, how we are dealing with the academics, and all the things are clear. If any questions are there, I would request students, they can write their questions in question and answer box and we can answer, or else they can mail us their questions and we will revert them back through the email, or else they can dial our toll-free helpline 1-800-843-9595. Thank you very much. Have a great evening. Thank you, Dr. Yusuf, once again.
Thank,
Thank you very much for your time.
thank
Thank you,
you.
sir. Thank you.
All right.